and just robbed of hundreds of dollars. And so I'm going to explain all this in a minute here. So today I thought I'd come down to the chicken coop, show you our chickens again. All the off-colored ones are chickens that we incubated. You know, the hens laid their eggs, we collected them up, incubated them. Got videos on that. The white ones are Brahmas. We bought those last spring, so all these came last spring. Now, of course, we don't have a rooster right now. That's kind of disappointing and scary because we have no way of incubating now without a rooster. Our last rooster, he broke his leg, so we had to butcher him. Hated that. He was a good looking rooster too. He was 15 pounds. He was huge. He was a Brahma. And we were going to raise meat birds. Brahmas are meat birds. They're huge. Since then, we've decided, you know what, we're just going to focus on eggs. So we've been trying to find leghorns. And boy, it's been a struggle. Every hatchery is booked until July or August time frame. Well, if you buy chickens by that time, you won't get any eggs this year. So we're wanting to get chickens this spring. Probably next month, March, April time frame, because then they'll start producing in the fall time, and then you'll get eggs all through the winter because they won't go through a molt. Whereas these chickens, they'll go through a molt this next fall, and we won't get any eggs during that time. So it's about 2 months you don't get any eggs. Well, if we'd had a rooster, we'd have incubated our own. But fortunately, we've got this lady down, oh gosh, I don't know, 10, 15 miles away from us, and she raises chickens all the time, and she emailed us or messaged us, can't remember which, and told us she's going to have leghorns this spring. So we're going to keep an eye on her. Now, we got chickens from her before, and she's a really nice lady. All her chickens are healthy, which is very important because Marek's disease is a real problem with chickens, especially with leghorns. And Marek's can spread very quickly through the rest of your flock, and you'll lose your whole flock. So you're supposed to keep your chickens separated from the new chickens. One of the ideas was we'd get a rooster from her. Of course, then we would have to separate it for several weeks, which means we probably missed an opportunity to lay the eggs, get them incubated, the whole thing, by this spring. Well, with this lady, I don't have any concerns that she's got Marek's disease. Now, like I said, we've gotten chickens from her before. We got all the Americanas. So all the off-colored ones you see here came from her batch. It's hard to explain. We bought some from Tractor Supply store, we bought some from her, but the Americanas came from her. The male was an Americana, so he mated with everybody. Buff Orpingtons, the New Hampshires, the Americanas. So we have some full-blood Americanas. The Americanas, females that mated with that rooster, would be Americanas, but the rest of them are all mixed. We're up to 9 eggs a day now. We're doing pretty good. We were at 7, now we're up to 9, so the days are getting longer, we're getting more eggs. So it's a little bit better than 1 egg every 2 days from these chickens. So I think we have 16. Getting there. Now, we eat all the eggs that are produced. We're carnivores, so the more eggs we get, we just eat them. We're having eggs twice a day, probably 3 times a week. We always have eggs for lunch, always. But sometimes we're getting them for supper also. So what Carolyn does for supper is she'll make like steak and eggs or pork and eggs or something like that, whereas for lunch or breakfast, it's more of a brunch for us. She makes bacon and eggs or ham and eggs. So we're almost getting enough eggs that we can have eggs twice a day, every day. Now our goal is to have 3 age groups. And we would have had that this spring, except we had a dog come and kill our oldest chickens. Fortunately, we had these chickens separated. We got 2 houses basically. We got the chicken coop, and then we have the IBC tank. All the new chickens, as they're being raised, so the old chickens don't beat up the new chickens, we keep them separated. So the new chickens were in the IBC tank. The dog got into the coop, so got 9 chickens. The reason we want 3 years worth of chickens is because the oldest chickens would be butchered in the fall. Then you'd have the second oldest. They would have to go through that molt that year. But then you got the newest chickens, and they would not go through the molt that first year. So you're getting eggs all year long. Maybe not as many eggs of chickens that you have, but you would still be getting eggs all year round. And then every 3rd year you get meat from those chickens. By this spring we'll have 2 age groups again. It was really nice finding that lady because it's just so convenient. She posts everything she has on Facebook, and it's reputable. We know it's reputable. She allows us to come to her property. She's got testimonials on her page of people who've buy her chickens. Now she takes her chickens and she goes around different counties every weekend, and she sells them like at an, I don't know, maybe like a flea market or whatever you want to call it. Of course, she lives so close to us, we can go to her place. Now the Brahmas we got from a hatchery. Now hatchery is a place, an actual place of business that hatches chickens. We go to our hatchery, and that's where we got the Brahmas. Now we've gotten other chickens from the hatchery also. Can't remember which ones though, but we've been there. Oh, I know what they were. They were the meat birds. They were the Cornish cross. That was the first year that we did meat birds. Cornish cross are really difficult to raise. They just get so big they can't walk. They're unhealthy. You can only raise them for 8 weeks. After 8 weeks, well, maybe 12 weeks. I guess you go about 12 weeks. But after 12 weeks, they start having heart attacks and dying on you. They get so big, they don't even go into their chicken coop at night. They just lay right here. I was having to give them a bath every day because it was so hot that they couldn't regulate their temperature very well. They don't do good in the cold or heat. Right now, we have 2 reliable places that we get our chickens from. Now, we can go to Orscheln's or the Tractor Supply store, and you can pick them up there. We might do that occasionally, just pick up a chicken or 2 over there. We thought about maybe getting a rooster, but again, wouldn't be ready in time. One thing I will not do is I will not order chickens online from a hatchery and have them sent through the mail. What it was is Tractor Supply sells chickens, and they go through a specific hatchery. Can't remember the name of it. It doesn't really matter either. But they weren't selling them yet. So you can go to Tractor Supply and order them online. So you go through Tractor Supply, order them online, and then the hatchery deals with you directly. I think you pay through Tractor Supply, but then the hatchery sends them out to you. Well, it said that the post office would call me when they were at the post office. And I just did not believe that the post office would call me. And it was February, so it was really cold, and I was really concerned about this. So I called them and I said, wait, I don't believe that this is what's gonna happen. There's no reason for my post office to call me. They said, of course they will. The post office is under contract with the hatchery to call you. So now the chickens were coming from Iowa. We live in Missouri. After we ordered them, the temperature dropped to like -6 degrees. It was just frigidly cold, snow on the ground, and I was just really worried about these chickens. Well, they shipped off. I was keeping track of them. The day they were supposed to be here, the post office guy pulls up to the mailbox in his car, windows rolled down, and he honks. I run out there and he says, I got your chickens, but you might want to get them inside pretty quick. I don't think they're alive. They're not moving around like they were when I put them out in the car. Well, the guy had been driving around all morning with his windows open. They froze to death. Made a video about it, and of course, the trolls beat me up with it, saying it was my fault, that I should have known better, that I'm just as guilty as the Tractor Supply store was. And of course, I was angry that somebody would accuse me of that after all the precautions I tried to take. But then, when you really sit back and think about it, yeah, I guess I have some culpability in it as well. So I've decided I'm just not going to order chickens through the mail anymore. I will go pick them up from somebody, a hatchery. There's always hatcheries somewhere around. You just got to find them. Tractor Supply store or Orscheln's, you can pick them up from there. I don't know if they're quite as healthy from the Tractor Supply, but at least they're alive when you buy them. I can't say I've ever had any die on me. That's a good option if you can't find them anywhere. Orscheln's, Tractor Supply, Rural King. Now right now, there isn't many chickens available. And that's the biggest problem, is trying to find some place that has any available. Now, people have been emailing me all kinds of places that I can get chickens from. But again, it was August or July, or they had to go through the mail. I just read an article that was kind of concerning, and I wanted to pass it along to you. In 2013, they predicted that 13 million people would own chickens by 2019. And it turned out that is true. I think it was around 2011, maybe 2010, I got my first set of chickens, backyard chickens. And the thing was so neat about that, and I'm not taking credit for it, but it feels like I should. I felt like I was the first person to ever get a backyard chicken. And then all of a sudden, everybody was doing it. It would just seem ironic or curious, whatever. But now with the egg shortage and the chicken shortage in stores and egg prices going up, chicken prices going up, more and more people are buying chickens. And that's why hatcheries don't have any chickens until August or July. Everybody's going out and buying them. There are people who believe, for whatever reason, the studies, which I haven't seen, that either egg yolks reverse the effects of the thing that everybody had to get for the pandemic, or keeps you from getting the thing that would happen during the pandemic. Either way, people believe it. So more people are buying chickens because of that. Whatever the reason is, there's no chickens available. Here we are, we have our own chickens. We don't have any ability to get any chickens this spring. We can't get a rooster, can't get any leghorns. So we're scrambling just like everybody else. Of course, we got that lady, so that's our saving grace. But people are desperate, and especially if they're excited about getting chickens. I can understand the excitement. That's why I allowed Tractor Supply Hatchery to send me chickens through the mail. Even though I was skeptical that that was going to work, I was pretty excited about getting chickens. So, okay, yeah, let's do it. There are a bunch of scams going on Facebook, and one person got scammed out of hundreds of dollars. She'd been searching for chickens, and just like everybody else, couldn't find any. Well, then this person on Facebook contacted her, or she contacted this person on Facebook, said, hey, I'd like to get some chickens from you. So she ordered chickens. They claimed they were in New Mexico, and the person who ordered them was in Arizona. Now, there was no exact location, no address where she could pick these things up at, but the hatchery told her it's too far of a drive anyway, so you're not going to be able to pick them up. You'll have to send them to you in mail. So they told her to pay through Zelle, or what, Z-E-L-L-E, but she didn't have an account there. So she said, well, how about PayPal? They said, okay, fine, yeah, PayPal's great. But they said, don't send it as goods and services, send it as friends or family. Because with goods and services, I guess the owner of the store would have to pay a fee to that. She agreed to it. Of course, you're not supposed to do that. And then they gave her an email address instead of a business name for the PayPal account. So there was a bunch of red flags, but she ignored them all because she was so excited. Well, of course, they didn't send it out. It was a scam. So they charged her all this money. Fortunately, she used her American Express card, and American Express reimbursed her a portion of her money, not all of it. So I want you to be aware of the scam. It's pretty widespread. A lot of people are doing it. I think the key is go pick it up yourself. Don't get them chickens mailed to you. I know a lot of people do it and they have a lot of success with it, but I think there's just too much risk. From my experience, I'll never do it again. So if you can click this up next box, it'll take you to a video where I was talking about the authorities taking our off-grid tools. So if I can inspire you to be safe when you're living your dreams. Thanks for watching.